what is the function of those ducts? Epididymis, vas deferens, urethra. So you need to know about the function of those ducts, right? So also like in female, what is the function of the fallopian tube? Okay, so actually the fertilization happens in the fallopian tube, right? So we'll go through this question during the life enrichment sessions. So also you need to know what is the function of those glands in the female and both females and male reproductive system. Okay, so like let's go ahead. So like when we study the male reproductive organ and tissues, right? So you need to know the function of like some ducts, some tissues organ, right? Like what's the function of the testes, epididymis, okay, ductus deferens, you need to know about it. Okay, so sperm go for a sperm maturation process. Where does it happen? Okay, where does the sperm cell maturation happens? Okay, you need to know about it. So the spermatogenesis happen inside the seminucleus tubules. Okay, so inside the seminucleus tubules, we find a cell called Sertoli cells. So don't mix up the Sertoli cells with the interstitial cell. Interstitial cell is some cells, okay, next to the seminucleus tubules. Okay, but the Sertoli cell is the cells inside the seminucleus tubules, and this cells, Sertoli cells, is very important for the spermatogenesis process, right? Make sure that you know those concepts. So, okay, so this is the process how the spermatogenesis happen. It involves the mitosis and meiosis, right? So one germ cells will be divided into finally 4 mature sperm cells. Okay, so what else? Okay, so also we got some glands, right? 3 glands, each gland will have different functions, right? So they will either secrete some alkaline fluid, okay? Why? Because the vagina is an acidic environment, right? So like the seminal vesicles secrete the alkaline fluid and also secrete the fructose because sperm swim, right? Swimming the energy, so the fructose provide the sperm with energy. Okay, prostate gland secrete some alkaline fluid to neutralize the acidic environment in the vagina. Okay, so there's something you need to know it. And then yes, we've already go through it. So this is another very important concept: negative feedback. Okay, we can find many negative feedback systems in different organ systems. So this one is that it's about the control of the sperm productions. Okay, so it starts from the hypothalamus secrete the GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, right? So when we study the endocrine, we know that the hypothalamus actually it either secrete the hormone, and some of it is stored in the pituitary gland, right? But another function is that the hypothalamus will release some releasing hormone or inhibitory hormone to control the release of hormone from the anterior pituitary gland. So this is a releasing hormone, GnRH, released from the hypothalamus. It goes to the anterior pituitary gland. Releasing hormone, right? It tells the anterior pituitary gland to secrete 2 other hormones, LH, FSH, luteinizing hormone, follicle-stimulating hormone. Okay, these 2 hormones control both male and female reproductive system. Okay, it controls the spermatogenesis, it controls the egg productions and egg maturations. Okay, so LH will reach to the interstitial cells, and then it stimulates interstitial cells to produce the testosterone. Testosterone will then go to the Sertoli cells to stimulate the cells to produce the sperm. Okay, And we also have the feedback system. While the blue arrow is the induction of spermatogenesis, the red arrow is the negative feedback system. Because when the sperm production is enough, okay, we need to find some way to stop the sperm production, right? So like, let's say for example, the testosterone will go back to the hypothalamus, will go back to the anterior pituitary gland to stop the release of GnRH and LH, FSH. So this is the important concept, right? So how about for the female part? Female part, somehow you need to know the basic structure of the female reproductive organ, like where and what's the function of the fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, etc. Right? So as I said, the fallopian tube is the site that fertilization happens. Okay, egg meet with sperm in the fallopian tube. Okay, and then you need to know what is the ovarian cycle, menstrual cycle, which hormone control the ovarian cycle and menstrual cycle. Okay, this is the ovarian cycle. Okay, which hormone control the development, maturation of the follicle cells? You need to know it, right? Which hormone? Which hormone stimulate the ovulation process? Okay, you need to know it. Okay, this is LH, right? FSH stimulate the maturation of the follicle cells. Okay, and then if the fertilization happens, the corpus luteum will keep it for a longer time. So which hormone control the degradation of the corpus luteum? You need to know it. Okay, this is HCG, right? HCG. Later on we'll come across it later. Okay, so I think the whole process of the female reproductive cycle is controlled by the hormone. So somehow you need to familiar with the function of each hormone. Okay, like FSH control the maturation of what I call cells. LH control the ovulation process. Okay, so I think somehow also this is very important, right? This slide. Okay, so let's what else? Okay, so whole process I just leave it to you, right? So which hormone control which process, you need to know it. And then this part is complicated. We will come across it again in your second year study, because as I said, it involves a lot of positive and negative feedback. Okay. So how about the development process? Okay, so from gamete formation and then fertilization, egg meet with sperm, and then it need to go through the cleavage process, gastulation process. You need to know like what is the gastulation process, right? At this gastulation process, the cell blastocyst will divide in the three layers, like ectoderm, endoderm. Okay, so this is the stages in development. Okay, egg meet with sperm. After the fertilization, it will form a cell called zygote, and then it undergoes different stages of development. Okay, so this term also you need to know about it. Okay, what is the stages of development from zygote to morula? What's morula? Morula is the solid ball with 16 or more cells. So cell divide, right? From one cells, okay, fertilized egg cells, one cell, 2, 4, 8, 16, something like that. Okay, and then it will further divide into a cell called blastocyst, and then it form a gastrula. Gastrula is a structure consists of 3 germs layer, and each layer later on it will develop, differentiate into different organ systems. So somehow the sequence you need to know it. Okay, so fertilization, that means egg meet with sperm, right? Where does it happen? Actually, it happens in the, we can call the midway of the fallopian tube. Okay, actually it have a term called ampulla. It happens in the ampulla of the fallopian tube. Okay, and with sperm fertilization happens. Okay, so it undergo the cell dividing process, and then the implantation. That means, okay, after the cells become the blastocyst, it will implant to the uterus, right? So, and then this process of implantations, okay. At this process, the blastocytes will secrete the hormone HCG. HCG keep the corpus luteum, okay, preserve the corpus luteum. Otherwise, the corpus luteum will degrade. Okay, so which hormone preserve the corpus luteum actually is HCG. Okay， 咁我驗人嘅時候都係驗呢隻嘅 HCG。Okay, so then it will form a structure called gastrula. Okay, I already repeated several times, right? So gastrula, 3 layers, each layer it will develop into different organ. Okay, eventually to become different organ. Okay, so then it just go through different stages in the development, right? Placenta development. Okay, and I think this part you can go through it by yourself. So finally, the birth process is a 3-step process. Labor during the delivery, so the baby is descend through the vagina, and then the uterus expel the placenta. So this is 3 process. Okay, so during this process, we do not find a lot of positive feedback in our human system, but this is one of it. Okay, oxytocin. Okay, actually is secret in our brain, right? Why is secretion during the birth? Because we find some stress receptor in the uterus. Okay, when the pregnant woman labor, the stress receptor in the uterus activated. Okay, receptor, and then send the signal to the brain, and then brain release oxytocin, right? What's the function of oxytocin? Oxytocin further, okay, cause the uterine muscle contractions. Okay, so after it's further contracted, okay, it will further activate the stress receptor, and then more oxytocin is produced. Okay, so this is a positive feedback signal until the baby is delivered. Okay， 咁我上堂講過係嘛？譬如穿羊水，你唔生就好危險對個 BB。So we need to finish this process. Okay, so we use this positive feedback function. So this is a reproductive system part. Okay, the renal system. Okay, so first of all, how about we go for the anatomy of not just kidney, right? So the renal system involves like a kidney, urethra, urinary bladder, and urethra. Okay. 嗱，咁我做呢個 revision 我都有準備啊。我 make sure 自己，因為我 year 2又有教 renal system， 我 make sure 我冇 mix up 啲嘢。Okay. So in the renal system, okay, first of all, you need to get familiar with the structure, right? Where is it? Okay, where's the kidney? Where's the urethra? Where's the bladder? And also not just for the examination, right? So the location, primary function is important for the urinary system. Okay, what else for the kidney, right? So for kidney, we have the external anatomy. Okay, we have something to protect the kidney. Internal anatomy, right? 而家同學同我 feedback 翻，你哋去個 lab 嗰陣時候話有睇到個 kidney 啊嘛，咁真係睇一個真嘅 kidney 咧，咁你睇到個 cortex 嗰 part 同埋 medulla 嗰 part 咧係其實好明顯係嘛。So somehow like you need to know briefly about the renal circulation of kidney, right? So you need to know, okay, the structure of the nephron. Okay, different part of the nephron, right? We found this different part of the nephron, right? What is the function of the renal corpuscle? What is the function of proximal convoluted tubules? Okay, what's the function of proximal convoluted tubules? It mainly to reabsorb something we needed, right? So the filtration happened in the renal corpuscle, okay, including something we needed. We need the amino acid glucose, right? And like water. So most of the glucose amino acid is reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubules. Okay, loop of Henle, okay, the function is to concentrate the urine. Okay, it have a counter current mechanism, right? So distal convoluted tubules and the collecting ducts, the hormones work on it. Okay, which hormone work on it? Like the aldosterone, okay, like the ADH, right, work on it. Okay, so what is the function of aldosterone? What's the function of ADH? You need to know about it, right? So the distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct mainly for reabsorption and also for the secretions. Okay, so something you need to know. Okay, what else? So the renal corpuscle include two parts. One part is glomerular capsule. Okay, filtration happen here. So next to it, we found a very important structure called juxtaglomerular complex. We found three types of cell in it. Macular dense acid actually is a part of our DCT, distal convoluted tubules. What we can find in it, we can find some osmoreceptor, right? What receptor we can find in the juxtaglomerular cells? We can find some baroreceptor, right, to detect the blood pressures. Okay, so there's something you need to know about it. Okay, and yes, we have already go through it, right? JG cell, juxtaglomerular cells, bear with some baroreceptor. Okay, let's say for example, if we have low blood pressures, so then it sends the pressure, right? If we have low blood pressures and then it will secrete the renin go through the RAAS rest system, and then finally the aldosterone is produced, and aldosterone help us to reabsorb more sodium. Water follow the sodium, and then the blood pressure increase. So something important concept you need to know about it. Okay. So this one we have already gone through. Okay, so the ureter is that after the urine is produced, it transfers the urine to the bladder, right? Bladder is an organ to store the urine. Okay, so there's some essential knowledge you need to know, right? Okay, so next we go to the physiology of the renal system. Okay. So first of all, there's a three-step process: filtrations, reabsorptions, and secretions. Okay, filtration is mainly based on the hydrostatic pressures, right? Because most likely the afferent arteriole, the diameter is larger than the afferent arteriole. Okay. So it generates a high pressures inside the glomerular capsules. Okay, so it generates a hydrostatic pressures, right? So the hydrostatic pressure will force except cells and proteins. Protein cannot pass through the blood vessels, right? It will keep in the blood vessels. So other things like water, glucose, amino acid, urea, it will pass through it to become a filtrate. Okay. And then reabsorption, okay, we absorb something we needed. Secretion, somehow we will study in the year 2 study, because kidney is very important to control the acid-base balance and the fluid balance. Okay, control the blood pressures, okay, and it also control our blood pH. Okay, so that's why we need to have tubular secretions, like secrete more hydrogen ion. It can help us to bring our pH back to normal. Okay. So the filtration process, yes, is done by the hydrostatic pressures, right? Hydrostatic pressures, okay, give us the GBHP, glomerular blood hydrostatic pressures, okay? For some things pass through the blood vessels inside the glomerulus, okay? And actually there's some pressures to draw some fluid back from the capsules back to the capillary. It is a CPH and a BCLP, capsular hydrostatic pressure, and colloid osmotic pressures. Okay, I think we have go through in the tutorial, right? So there's some essential knowledge you need to learn about it. Okay, so finally for the physiology of the renal system, so I would like to bring you about another important concept is the hormone. Okay, hormone is very important to regulate the water sodium reabsorption in kidney. So the aldosterone is one of it. Okay, so the story starts from the juxtaglomerular cells. Okay, like in this story, okay, juxtaglomerular cells contains the bowel receptor. So if we have a low blood pressures, juxtaglomerular cells secrete renin just go through this pathway. Okay, finally aldosterone is produced. So what is the function of aldosterone? Aldosterone major function is that, so it is here, right? Different hormone will have different functions, but mainly different hormone, it either ask the kidney to reabsorb more like sodium and water, or ask the kidney to reabsorb less like sodium. Okay, so the aldosterone, okay, signal the kidney cell to reabsorb more sodium. So then water follow the sodium, right? So aldosterone actually increase sodium reabsorption, also increase the water reabsorption. So the effect is it will bring the increase in the blood volume and increase in the blood pressures. Okay, so ADH, antidiuretic hormone, also it has other name called vasopressin, right? So it is secreted in the posterior pituitary gland. Okay, so it increases the water permeability. That means it enhances the water reabsorption. So that is some essential function of each hormone. You need to know it. Okay, what else? I think that's all for this part. Yes, this one. I've told you the function of aldosterone, right? So how about some disease have excessive production of aldosterone? What will happen? Okay, so that's something you need to know. Okay, so the chronic kidney diseases have different stages. We have already go through in the tutorial, right? So I'm not going to repeat it. So for the dialysis part, we will learn more about in the second year study. Okay, so next, endocrine system. So first of all, okay, let's check with some key concept in this concept map. So first of all, endocrine hormone, it need to pass through the bloodstream. Okay, so endocrine hormone. We have some other signaling molecules communicate between cells and tissues, right? So, but the definition of endocrine hormone is that it need to pass through the bloodstream. And two chemical classes, water-soluble hormone, it cannot enter to the target cells. So the receptor is in the surface. Lipid-soluble, okay, like vitamin D3, like estrogen, it can, because it's lipid soluble, right? It can pass through the cell membrane, so the receptor is inside the cells. So on the other hand, like insulin, right? Insulin is a water soluble hormone, so the receptor is on the cell surface. Okay, so the target cell must have the hormone receptor. Okay, if a cell do not have those hormone receptor, it's not a target cells. Okay, so endocrine glands is some of the organ or some tissue structure that will secrete the hormone. Okay, so the top three is the most important one because the pituitary gland will have another name called master gland. It will secrete the hormone to control other glands in our body. So the pituitary gland is what we call the master gland in our body. So let's briefly go through it. Okay, so I think this one is hormone part. We have already go through it. Okay, so let's start with the master gland. So why it called a master gland? Because it secretes something to control other gland, right? So you need to know some basic concept. Anterior pituitary, it produces and secretes. It can produce hormone. Okay, but the posterior pituitary gland, it will not produce. It just store and release the hormone. Okay, like oxytocin, ADH. Actually, is produced in the hypothalamus, right? It's stored in the posterior pituitary gland, but the anterior pituitary gland, okay, it can produce, okay, 6 different types of hormone, okay, and it's summarized here, okay. So when we study the reproductive system, right, we know what is GnRH. GnRH is a releasing hormone, okay. It produced by the hypothalamus, secrete and release to the anterior pituitary gland, and then the anterior pituitary gland will secrete the LH and FSH, right? These two. So I think this graph is a very good summary. Okay. So I think for each function of each hormone, I think I just leave it to you. Okay. I'm not trying to go through it one by one. So, like, let's say, for example, how can we control the calcium? We control calcium by 2 hormones. Okay, calcitonin increase the rate of calcium depositions. Okay, we store the calcium. Okay, in our bone, right? How about the PTH, parathyroid hormone? The function is opposite to the calcitonin. Okay. It releases the calcium from the blood, PTH. Okay, so it will work as a pair. So I think in the PowerPoint notes we have a graph show you the negative feedback loop, right? So how about if the blood calcium is increased, then the thyroid secrete the calcitonin. How about if our blood calcium decrease, and then the parathyroid hormone secrete by PTH? Okay. Release calcium from the blood. Okay. So another one very important is these two, right? Insulin and glucagon. This is a pair. So glucagon has another name called insulin counteracting hormone. So they actually is opposite to each other, right? What is the function of insulin? Insulin enhance glucose uptake. Insulin can also increase some anabolic reaction, like the glycogen synthesis, like the triacylglycerol fat synthesis. It is triggered by the insulin. Okay, so glucagon have opposite function to the insulin. Okay, so it stimulates the breakdown of glycogen to glucose, right? And also it can mobilize the fat. Okay, because why we secrete the glucagon, right? Because the blood glucose level decrease. Okay, so in this case we can mobilize the fat. Okay, break down the fat. Okay, because the both fatty acid, both glycerol, we can use it to produce energy. Okay, so there's some very important hormone you need to know about it. Okay, so I'm not going to go through it one by one, right? So I just leave it to you. Okay. So again, so the function of insulin glucagon is very important, not just for this course. 咁我諗咧，你之後讀好多 course 啊，無論其他 nursing practical 啊 course 啊，或者嗰啲嘢。 you make sure that like what is the function of insulin glucagon, why it's secret, why it's produced, under what situations, okay, and then what will be the response, okay, so you need to know about it. Okay, so this for the endocrine system. Okay, so how about we move to the digestive system? Okay. So first of all, you need to know basically some very basic concept, right? What is the sequence of order of our GI tract from mouth, esophagus, stomach, small, large, and intestine, and then finally it reaches the anus, right? So next, where is the like chemical digestion start? Okay, actually it start in our mouth because with the amylase, right? We also have some enzyme to digest some lipids, but the most important enzymes we find in our body is secreted by the pancreas, right? We have some accessory organ release the enzyme to the small intestine. Okay, so if I duct connect the pancreas to the duodenum, right? So the most important enzyme for macronutrients, carbohydrate, fat, protein is secreted by the pancreas. Okay, and how about the function of other accessory organ in our digestive system? So liver is very important because it produces the bile. What's the function of bile? It breaks down the large fat droplet to a smaller one, so it increases the surface area. So the lipase is the enzyme to digest the fats, right? It breaks down, let's say for example, the triacylglycerol to become fatty acid and glycerol. So this is what we call the emulsification process. So it's something you need to know it, right? So yes, I think those sequence is also important, right? 咁啲 sequence 唔係好難㗎嘛。咁 the sequence also include what is the sequence in the small intestine, what is the sequence in the large intestine, right? Like in the small intestine, duodenum is next to jejunum is ileum. Okay, so this is sequence, right? So also the sequence in the large intestine is very important, and it's some essential knowledge. So I'm not going to go through one by one, right? So the function of each organ, each tissue in our GI tract, okay? I just leave it to you, okay? So like this one, esophagus, okay? We have some system that to control that the can't will not go back to our esophagus, right? So we find this structure called lower esophageal sphincter. So if this sphincter have some problem, we got this disease called gastroesophageal reflux disease. Is due to the LES, lower esophageal sphincter, is weak. Okay, is abnormal, have some weak abnormal relaxations, so it will bring up disease. So actually we can find several reflux in our body. Okay, some reflux will cause the different type of disease, right? This is one of it. So stomach will have 4 different regions, right? So the last region called pylorus, 幽門. So in the pylorus section, we find another sphincter called pylorus sphincter. Okay. Okay. While we have LES, why we have another sphincter called pylorus sphincter. What is the function of this sphincter? Okay. We would like to control the release of the calm from the stomach to the duodenum, right? We don't want to overwhelm the duodenum, so we want to control the release of the calm gradually. Okay, so there's some digestion process in the stomach. Okay, stomach will produce the pepsin, right? Pepsin digests the protein. Okay. Okay, so this is negative feedback system, right？咁我通常咧，我每一個organ system 咧，我都會擠啲唔同嘅 positive 或 negative feedback system 落去。So as I said, okay, we don't want to overwhelm the duodenum. We want to keep releasing the calm from the stomach to the duodenum gradually. So this sphincter works to prevent the overwhelm of the calm movement from stomach to the duodenum. So if why does it happen? Actually, it involves some different receptor, right? So we can find some stress receptor in the duodenum. So once it activated, it will tell the stomach, if the pressure in the duodenum is high, the stress receptor is activated, so it will ask the stomach, okay, so you need to stop pushing the calm to the duodenum, right? So the sphincter, and then it will contract, okay? So the movement of the calm will stop, okay? So the small intestine, we find the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, right? So make sure that you know the sequence, okay? And there is the relationship between different accessory organs, okay, and the duodenum, okay? So the relationship is that we have another accessory organ, the liver, produce bile, store in the gallbladder, release to the duodenum, right? Also, we have the pancreas and other accessory organ to produce some very important enzymes. Bicarbonate neutralize the gastric acid, okay? So, yes, what else? So let's say, for example, okay, we have actually some hormone help us to regulate the bile release, like this CCK, okay? Once the lipid droplet reach to the duodenum, so the duodenum, somehow the CCK is produced, and CCK will go to the gallbladder, ask them now the fat is reached to the duodenum, right? So you can now release the bile, because the bile will do the emulsification process, right? And then it facilitates the lipase enzyme actions. Okay, so this is some function of our accessory organ. So the pancreas secretes several enzymes, right? Amylase, lipase, protease to digest the carbohydrate fat protein. Okay, and it also secretes the bicarbonate, neutralize the gastric acids. Okay, so those pancreatic juice and then bicarbonate is called the exocrine functions. Okay, it's different from the endocrine because the pancreas is also an organ that will secrete some hormones that will pass through the blood vessels, reach to the another organs. So those functions we call endocrine. It passes through the blood vessels. But the pancreas will have dual functions, okay, both exocrine and endocrine. Okay, so the liver structure we do not go through a very detailed one, so I think we will go through in the second year study. Okay, so in the small intestine, we have a very special type of structure called villi. It's a finger-like structure. Okay, and on the surface of villi, we also find the microvilli. Microvilli is the place that the absorption happens, and also in the microvilli, it contains some enzyme to further digest the different types of nutrients, right? So this is a graph show you what happens in the microvilli, right? So I think this graph summarizes what happens. Okay, so first of all, something after digestion, it will pass through the intestinal cells to our blood capillaries. Okay, like what will go into the blood capillaries? Like the amino acid, like some carbohydrate, like some small short chain fatty acid. Okay, it will pass through the intestinal cells to the blood capillaries, and then it will pass through the hepatic portal ring to the liver, and then it will go to the inferior vena cava to the heart, right? But how about some long-chain fatty acid? Okay, we firstly break down the triacylglycerol. We absorb it, and then we just make the triacylglycerol again. And the triacylglycerol will not transport to the blood vessel yet. It will pass to our lymphatic vessels. Okay, and then once it reaches to the thoracic duct, it will join with our blood vessels. Okay, so I think this information is summarized here. So I think the take-home message is that, okay, after the digestion, the long-chain fatty acid, okay, will be absorbed, okay, and then it will not pass to the blood vessels. It will pass to our lymphatic system first, and then it will join with our blood vessels, okay. So this is our large intestine. Make sure that you know the anatomy of our small, large intestine, right? So, like the cecum, and then the colon, and then the rectum, and then the anal canal. So, I think this is all for the digestive system part. Okay. So finally, for our musculoskeletal system. Okay, so I think maybe I'll use this concept to illustrate some of the very important message, right? So first of all, bone connect with the skeletal muscles, right? So one very important concept is that what does the muscle do? Actually, the muscle do a contraction and relaxation, and then it will pull the bone, right? And then it can provide some movement. So this is one of the very important concepts. So next, somehow you need to know like how bone and bone connected. Okay, bone and bone connected at joint. Okay. Okay, maybe we can go to the briefly go through it one by one. So most important one. So the skeletal system, skeleton, okay, can be classified into two categories. Okay, an axial, that means it is the central one in the midline. Appendicular is the axial skeleton located in the central axis. Appendicular, okay, so it is the side part of our body. It's a blue part in here. So make sure that you know it. Okay, so bone will have different classes of bone, right? From a long one, short one, flat bone. Okay, so we classify it actually for this one is just based on the shape. Okay. And what's inside bone, we can find some organic and inorganic component, right? Inorganic component is the calcium and phosphate, right? Organic component, we can find some like the collagen, like the some cells, okay? Osteoblasts, okay? You need to know what is the difference between the osteoblasts and osteoclasts. Osteoblasts make the bone. Osteoclasts just resorb the bone, right? Make sure that you can differentiate these two types of the cells, okay? So this is structure of long bone, have different sections, right? So different cells will have different functions. So as I said, so what is the bone remodeling cycle? So the osteoclast break down the bone. Let's say, for example, if our blood calcium is not enough, we can break down the bone, release the calcium from it, okay? And then osteoblasts, okay, do the bone formation process. And this cycle, we call it bone modeling cycle, and it happens daily from time to time. if the cycle is altered, like in this case the menopause, that means the estrogen level decrease. Estrogen actually it can suppress the function of osteoclast. So without estrogen, the osteoclast activated, so the bone breakdown process increase. So that's why the woman during the menopause will have the osteoporosis. Okay, so then we have studied the different stage of bone growth. I think then we studied what is joint. Joint is that where the bone meet another bone, right? This is a joint. Okay, so for this one, okay, make sure that you know, okay, what is inside a joint, like the synovial joint, what's inside, okay, what is the function of ligament, what is the function of the cartilage, you need to know about it. Okay, so with different types of joints, so the most common one we can find in your body is the synovial joint. Okay, so synovial joint we can find different features, right? So you need to know the function of each features. Okay, so there's some disease in the joint. Okay, I think you're going to study more detail in your year 2 study. Okay, so as I said, ligament. What's the function of ligament? Ligament is it connects bone to bone. Okay, so ligament is a very important part in the joint. Okay, then what's a tendon? What is the function of tendon? Tendon in this picture is the right part， 白色嘅部分。咁我常學講咧，可以買牛展，兩邊係白色嘅。What's the function of tendon? Okay, you need to know about it. Okay. So finally, we have studied like the muscle, right? Different type of muscle. So for the musculoskeleton, we focus on the skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscle involves some voluntary movement, and also you can find some striated structures under the microscope. Okay. So for this part, yes, the skeletal muscle will have 3 layers. Okay. So for the muscle movement, I think I spend a lot of time to introduce this structure to you called sarcomere. Okay, when the muscle do the contraction and relaxation, right? The sarcomere length increase or decrease. Okay, so make sure that you know the concept behind. Okay, so yes, like the under relaxation, the sarcomere length increase. When the muscle undergo contraction, the sarcomere length decrease. Okay, that's something you need to know it. Okay, so I think the whole process again, I think we'll study more detail during the year 2 study. 咁我上堂就係播條片啦，係嘛？咁actually the signal is from our nervous system. It trigger the calcium release. Calcium will bind to the tubulin. And it releases the bonding sites, so the actin and myosin can bond together. Okay, so I think this all I want to say。話1個鐘。好，嗱我翻返去呢個 Mentimeter， 我睇下有問題先。真係唔記得咗呢啲。What is the value of exam？ 你係收到 email 係嘛？嗱，你 check 下 email 為準，因為我而家就咁講啊，講到係嘛？咁你 check 嘅 email 為準啦。Will medical journalism be exam? What does it mean? In some question, it will involve some case study. Maybe I give you medical conditions, and let's say ask you, under this diagnosis, what will be the most like what is 我舉一例子俾你講，你唔知點講，因為我諗下點樣講先。我舉一啲例子俾你 case study 或者 diagnosis 俾一啲 data 俾你，問下呢個病人係最大機會係患有咩病。咁我覺得唔係一啲好複雜嘅 case 嚟啫，咁係應該可以答到。 Will the test paper be distributed? What does it mean? Test paper 應該唔會嘅，唔係我哋做咗 debriefing session 個 test 嘅就唔會講。Do we have a sitting plan during the exam? You can find your sitting plan outside the examination room。咁你早啲去啊，睇翻你一個 examination 嘅sitting plan 應該係貼喺房門口。Is there answer for online quiz in the Moodle？如果你想知道個答案，你 send email 嚟問我 ，you can send email to me about the online quiz answer in the Moodle. Okay? Most probably we will not upload the answer. If you want to know the answer, please email me. Right? Do we need to know about the factor for muscles and bone growth? Factors for muscle and bone growth. What does it mean? I think I've already go through some important concept for the musculoskeletal system. Okay. In chapter 29, Freddie, may I ask what is the difference between secret and release? Secret 或 release 啊？你咁問我好難講喎。嗱，通常兩個有時會交換咗。release 咧，嗱有時唔係佢產生啊嘛。譬如我舉個例子 ，anterior pituitary gland 咧，佢係 release， 不過有啲人想講 release， 可能多啲用 release 啊嘛。secret 咧有時佢嗰個 size 又係 produce 然之後 release， 咁我就需要用 secret 啦。好似之前有同學問我嗱，呢啲我唔嗱我嗰 part 我就講我 part， 我唔係講 fit 嗰 part， 我唔會太執着呢字眼，我唔會話你寫 secret 就扣你分，你寫 release 就唔扣你分。Is it necessary to state the full name of all hormones? This is very important. It's a very good question, right? You cannot just write down the abbreviations. I suggest you, for example, if you answer like luteinizing hormone, I suggest you to write down the full name first. Write a bracket LH, and then later on you can just write down the LH. Okay? So it's very important. Some of the abbreviation like DNA, we will not ask you to write down the full name of DNA, right? But for the hormone, I suggest you to write down the full name first, and then you can write a bracket or LH luteinizing hormone, and then later on you can write